Welcome back to the preview of Size. My name's Luke Matthews, this is Paul Ruffles, and today we're going to preview September. So we're going to start September with the next instalment of the Size exclusive Recut series of Reebok, and it's the Deconstructed classic leather and the workout. So for those of you not aware, the Recut series is basically us rethinking and reimagining our favourite silhouettes with just new materials and just completely new plays on some like classic Reebok pieces.
One thing I like about this series and working together with Reebok is we're very specific in each pack, and it's delivering different looks and feels for each one. And this one is obviously down a much more sophisticated and craftsman route.
Yeah.
With that, we've taken out all the layers in the true decon style. You can see this, but all the classic lines of the classic leather are still there, but just embossed into the material, from the colour, from the off-white muted sole to the simple upper. So we're really pleased how this comes out, and it just adds another facet to the ongoing Recut programme.
So next up for September, we've got something from Nike, and it's the Lavadome Ultra.
So those who don't know, this is the original silhouette. The Lavadome was 1981, and it was like a first foray into sort of more heavy duty, sort of roughneck outdoor shoes before the development of their classic ACG branding. So as you can see, the upper is very close to the original shoe.
I mean, what I like about it as well, it almost has elements from it from, I mean, early 70s with the tailwind, and then stuff like the LDV and the LD1000, the swoosh placement, and some of the paneling does look that sort of like late 70s runner.
I think this is a fresh area for their Ultra program as well, because as we've seen in the past with the sort of the Max Ultras and other shoes there, they have made it look super modern, and they've also played with the upper more, where here I think they've sort of fully lauded and appreciated the classic design and aesthetic and the customer for this. So they've tried to keep it as close to the original as possible. So we've got an original sole here, and if you look at the bottom there, you know, they can see that the design is very close, but there's obviously a massive difference. The weight is probably half, and it's super flexible.
So arguably, the NMD is one of the biggest shoes of the year, and it embodies Adidas's mantra of the past informing the future. So even with this silhouette, the NMD XR-1, you can see the references of the Micro Pacer, the Rising Star, and the Boston Super. And that sort of mantra is what Adidas are pushing forward and going on with. And I mean, they've taken this to the next level for September, and they've introduced a completely new silhouette and new take on the NMD with the NMD XR-1.
So from the original launch, there was 3 clear silhouettes, wasn't there? So there was obviously the R1, the original, and then there was the City Sock, which was the sort of higher slip-on, and then there was the Chucker. And I think all 3 had different, really clear different identities. And I think in the spirit of evolution, I think this is taking the R1 as its closest relative and sort of moving it on. So as you can see, there's a clear references in the sole unit. So they've evolved the front peg and slimmed that down, but still keep the reference here. There's the heel reference at the back of like the cage on the original. So they've now reinterpreted this into premium materials. But I think the main difference here is the sort of the TPU cage at the front to give it a clear point of difference, and some extra, those actually will provide that extra support.
So continuing on with the theme of evolution, we've got the Nike Roshe 2. And you can instantly see from the silhouette how different it is to the first one, and they've really brought it on. Initially what the Roshe was and stood for was, it was taking the name and the translation from the Zen Master, so it was less is most definitely more, as you can see by this one here. So the uppers were very minimal, and the whole process and the whole shoe wasn't it? It was very simple. So
the original was designed by one of Nike's top designers, Dylan Rash, and it was very much had a Zen sort of theme to the whole design, obviously nodding to the simplistic form and shape of it, which is very much part of that sort of lifestyle, even down to the pattern of the footbed. It all referenced Zen ideology. So you can see there's various ways of the evolutionary parts of this. Now they've moved it on. There's a sock fitting here as opposed to the 2-piece upper of the original, which again will hold your foot more securely in this more simple upper here.
One thing is another nice nod to the original as well is the fact they've brought it back in iguana sail and black anthracite as well, which are the first 2 colours that dropped in the Roshe, so that was a nice nod. And another nice thing that Nike have done to it is take them on to the next level for the Roshe 2 is apply Flyknit to it. And I think it's a very interesting and innovative use of Flyknit on this that we've not seen before.
So we all know of the Flyknit upper, and you can see there's a distinct difference to this straight away. So it's a brand new Flyknit pattern, and again, for a bit of magic, and this one here, you can see there's a bit of a colour change, which goes through the whole. There's a 4 shoe pack of this in various colours, of this being one of the more vibrant ones, down to sort of a black and grey. So again, taking the vibe of the new Roshe 2 and then applying the more premium upper again. So you've got 2 hits straight away of a brand new shoe.
So the theme for this episode has been the past informing the future and about evolution.
And I think we've saved the best till last.
Yeah.
So those that know, these are actual shoes from the past Adidas leisure ranges from decades ago. We've got these out because we wanted to show how things have evolved and how the brands have taken certain key elements, and one of the strong elements here is obviously this key small metallic branding.
So inspired by those original archive leisure shoes, we've got the next instalment of the size exclusive archive series of Adidas Originals. It's the Albrecht. So the Albrecht was initially brought into the range by Gary Aspin in his Special collection, and it was inspired by probably one of the iconic leisure shoes, which was the Seville in the late 80s. But you'll notice that the outsole looks a little bit different to some of those other leisure shoes you saw. It's actually from the Gazelle OG, the outsole. So it's almost a hybrid of meeting of like a leisure upper with a bit more of a training shoe outsole, which is nice. And I mean, that itself again shows the past informing the future a little bit, even though it's sort of decades ago that.
So again, in the spirit of the evolution of the shoes, as you talked about, the shape and the modernising it here, but then the classic nod back to those leisure shoes you saw earlier is the metal pin badge branding.
The story goes, when Gary was going through the process, it was such like a sought after silhouette, and they couldn't find the Seville, so they literally rebuilt the whole shoe from imagery. And I think during the process he eventually got hold of it, and he just preferred this version even more, which goes to show how good they've done it.
Well, actually, again, it's a true sense of evolution. The Albrecht shoe so far hasn't been done in suede at all, so this is the first time we've had suede iterations of it, so it's a really nice move forward, and the suede's of a good quality, and I think the colours are bang on for the season.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to the YouTube channel to keep up to date with all the other content we've got going on, and in the meantime, keep an eye on the side social channels. We'll see you next month.